The Redskins aren't hurting themselves. This time, they're just hurting. It seems the Washington Redskins, once again, are close to falling apart. It's a seasonal predicament, really. Leaves change colors for autumn, Washington withers into crisis. Snow falls in winter, Washington feels the chill of crisis. Flowers bloom in spring, Washington watches crisis blossom. The sun rises early in the summer, Washington awakes to crisis. This team doesn't need to read a clock or calendar. It can tell time simply by waiting for the next unfortunate situation. The latest problem is just hard luck. There is no controversial general manager firing, no quarterback contract impasse, no infighting, not even a really bad team wearing out its welcome. This time, a promising season threatens to lose steam prematurely because of injuries. And it's not the normal, every football team gets hurt variety. The rash is so bad that only one starting offensive lineman is certain to play Sunday against the Dallas Cowboys. It's so bad that an improved defense is hemorrhaging personnel. It's so bad that, despite cornerback Josh Norman's fast recovery from broken ribs, it's hard to imagine Washington being effective against their rival without a lot of help from the weather. Rain, don't go away. And without the Cowboys showing their wacky, inconsistent side. Washington could catch a few breaks Sunday at FedEx Field, but the way the season has gone so far, good fortune shouldn't be expected. There are 10 games remaining, and the 2017 season already feels like a slog. For all the positive things this football team has done to recover from a slow start and garner respect for its physical and high-energy style, the difficulty of sustaining that level of performance has become painfully apparent. It's too early to write off the Redskins or to declare them playoff-worthy. When they're healthy, these players have shown signs of becoming not just a solid team, but an intriguing one that plays with the edge and toughness you expect. At last, they were getting to a level in which quality opponents weren't automatic losses, and their effort and focus didn't waver from game to game. But now, this team is a mystery again because, no matter how much depth it has, it's impossible to be consistent through all the roster turbulence. It's frustrating, but it's pro football, and it's something we have to deal with, Coach Jay Gruden said. We just have got to do a good job of taking care of these guys, and they've got to do a good job of taking care of their bodies when they're not on the practice field or on game day. For the most part, they do. It's just unfortunate. They happen in this league, and we have to adjust. No one will cry over Washington's pain. Injury is an inevitability of this game. All teams are going through something. The problem is that Washington is at its weakest during perhaps the strongest part of its schedule. After 6 games, Gruden hoped his team could make a push over the next month or so and be in position again to make a playoff run. But to do that, Washington will need its best available players to perform at their highest level, and it will need others to play over their heads a little. The next 4 opponents, the Cowboys, 3-3, Seattle Seahawks, 4-2, Minnesota Vikings, 5-2, and New Orleans Saints, 4-2, have a combined record of 16-9. There are no dominant NFL teams this season, but those 4 foes are gradually improving. As midseason approaches, the latter 3 are in good positions to win their divisions. The Cowboys aren't as solid, but quarterback Dak Prescott is playing efficient football, and running back Ezekiel Elliott is starting to play well while fighting NFL suspension. Dallas is coming off a 40-10 victory over winless San Francisco. In year 1, Prescott won 13 games. This year, he's even better. For proof that all 3 NFL teams aren't created equal, take a look at the middling Cowboys and the so-so Redskins. Just a week ago, Washington appeared stable and had an opportunity to shrink Philadelphia's NFC East division lead to a half game. Dallas was one of the league's biggest early-season disappointments, and the uncertainty of Elliott's availability and owner Jerry Jones's hardline protest stance were major distractions. 1 week later, Dallas is getting right, and Washington is running out of medical supplies. The team's current statuses exemplify the danger of overvaluing any given week in the NFL, especially this season. It causes to wild changes of opinion. It's best to stay comfortably between best and worst. Instead of counting injuries and schedule surfing, Washington is trying to keep a balanced, stay-in-the-moment perspective. "I think that's the best mindset in this league," said quarterback Kirk Cousins, who is healthy and whose 107.2 passer rating ranks behind only Alex Smith and Tom Brady among quarterbacks with at least 50 pass attempts. "Otherwise you're going to overwhelm yourself and want to take a nap. I feel like I can spin my wheels sometimes looking at all the challenges we have up ahead, and there is such small room for error." The team's biggest issue is that about 40% of the roster is playing on contracts that expire at season's end. It could make for complicated decisions as players decide whether to grind through injuries. On Friday, linebacker Mason Foster went on injured reserve after playing with a torn labrum in his shoulder for 3 weeks. Initially, he was upset at the decision and took to Twitter to express his frustration. "They don't care about us," he tweeted about the organization. On Saturday, Foster met with team president Bruce Allen and apologized for being so emotional. Foster thought he was being discarded after giving his body to help the team, something that happened to him a few years ago in Tampa Bay. Allen reassured him that the team simply wanted to take care of him. So the Twitter incident wasn't a controversy as much as it was a misunderstanding that sheds light on the difficult situations that these athletes face playing a volatile game. If Washington can't stay competitive during this injury bug, the larger issue is whether the franchise will be able to evaluate this team accurately and decide on a future. How can it make a commitment to bring back the band based on a sample size of 5 or 6 games with decent health? Or maybe it weathers this difficult stretch, and players get healthy and stay healthy, and this latest crisis highlights the team's resolve. Whatever the outcome, the next month should be a defining stretch. During Gruden's 4 seasons, Washington has been left for dead many times and lived, only to be left for dead again. You would think the cycle must end at some point. But how strange would that be? The circumstances change, but for Washington, conflict, complication and crisis are a way of life. For more by Jerry Brewer, visit WashingtonPost.com web link. More on the Redskins. Foster meets with Redskins brass, resolves frustrations he aired on Twitter. Terrell Pryor Sr. apologizes to fans and teammates for slow start. 5 storylines to follow in the Redskins-Cowboys game. ESPN report called Daniel Snyder a pro-stand owner. Redskins declined to comment. With offensive line, you don't know what you've got.